So, here I am with my first ever draft analysis of my own team in a draft league. I have joined the X9 draft league. Poke Alex did end up leaving the draft league, so I am going to be taking his place. I'm finally in a draft league, which I am super happy with. Drafts are one of my favourite things to do, and I've always just been building in a front office and never actually been able to compete in the league, so I'm super happy to be here. So this is going to be the draft analysis, like I said, going over the team that I kind of drafted, because I did take over Poke Alex's team, but then I was able to edit it. So that's why I'm stuck with this Tapu Fini here, because it was between Tapu Fini and Rotom Wash, and every other Tier 1 Pokemon had been taken, so Tapu Fini was probably better than Rotom Wash in terms of a draft league. In terms of just VGC in general, I think Rotom Wash is better, but Tapu Fini, it allows a Misty Seed on pretty much any Pokemon I want, so, you know, that's a thing. And it can be okay, I guess. It's not great, but kind of had to stick with it for the Rotom Wash. I'm going to pretty much just skip by the Tapu Fini because people that watch my content probably know how I feel about Tapu Fini, but I'm kind of stuck with it. Kartana was another Pokemon that was left over from Alex's team. I should just say, so Tapu Fini, Kartana, Zapdos Galar, and Marowak were left over from Poke Alex's team. So what's happened is I was allowed to make 4 changes to the team for this coming week. So I don't currently have Weavile, Berserker, or where is it gone? Dragonite. So Dragonite is a Mudsdale, Weavile is an Umbreon, and Berserker is a Dramper just for this coming week. And then for the next weeks, I was allowed to make 4 more trades. So I traded the Umbreon, Dramper, and Mudsdale for Dragonite, Weavile, and Berserker. So this is going to be my team for the most part, except that this first week that's coming up. So yeah, Kartana was left over. Generally tried to avoid 4 times weaknesses when I'm going into drafts, and I've ended up with 3 of them, so that's more than I would usually be comfortable with, but Kartana was easily the best grass type that was left over. I didn't think it would be a good idea to change it. Usually it's quite hard to find a good steel type, especially when all of the teams had already picked at this point. Steel is the best type because it resists the most, so you want it on your draft team. It's quite hard to fit it on, so Kartana is here, even though I did end up with another steel type, which is quite amusing. But yeah, Kartana can do some good things. It's flexible enough that I'm allowed to go for an Assault Vest or a set that's allowed to protect as well. So that's going to be nice being able to edit the Kartana. Whether I need a Focus Sash that week as well, in case like the bulk won't help, so Focus Sash makes sense. So there's a tiny bit of flexibility in Kartana. There's really not too much. Like, it's going to be Leaf Blading, Sacred Swording most of the time. There's not really too much else it's going to do. Maybe if I've managed to top cut and there's a few weeks left, then I can go for a Calm Mindset. But we will get to that when we get to that. So Dragonite wasn't on Poke Alex's team. He originally had a Dramper as the Dragon type. Having a Dragon type is a tiny bit awkward with the Tapu Fini, but not too bad, especially since Dragonite does not need its Dragon move whatsoever. It's got a super vast move pool. This would have definitely been Salamence, I think, if it was still available, but Dragonite is perfectly acceptable for that. But yeah, it's got, look at all these moves. Like, I basically finished 2 sentences scrolling down through all its moves. I guess this isn't in the VGC format, so it'll lose some of them, but its coverage is amazing. If you just look at its type coverage, it's going to be super flexible for this week. And I'm not too big a fan of the Ice weakness, especially because you can just slap Ice Beam on everything. But again, being able to choose between Inner Focus and Multi-Scale, whether I need to be immune to Intimidates or Fake Outs, or if I can take that half hit with the Multi-Scale. So again, like, I try and go into draft teams with flexibility in mind. So Kartana is not really the most flexible, but it was kind of the best that was left over. Dragonite is a very flexible Pokemon. It can run multiple different sets, which is what you want in draft. You want to be able to run as multi-dimensional a Pokemon as possible. Zapdos kind of isn't. It's, again, left over from Alex's team, but again, made a lot of sense to keep. It's still a very good Pokemon, but in general, it's just going to be running, fighting, flying, and then maybe 1 coverage. It can do a couple of things, like it can maybe coaching my physical attackers, like Kartana or Dragonite. It could go for coaching, but outside of that, it's going to be pretty one-dimensional. But it can run a few different sets, like it can get an Assault Vest going and just Dynamax, and they can't intimidate you or drop your attack without the fear of activating Defiance. So it does pair pretty well with the Kartana as well. So that's 2 Pokemon already that are physical attackers but don't care about Intimidate, if I choose to have Dragonite within a Focus over Multi-Scale, which is quite nice. So that's pretty good. Nidoqueen effectively was a Mudsdale, so Alex had Mudsdale as his ground-type Pokemon, but again, Mudsdale is pretty one-dimensional. Nidoqueen is very, very multi-dimensional. Very good coverage going with Nidoqueen, especially with the Sheer Force boost. So Nidoking was taken like a few days before I was able to make the trades, and I probably would have picked Nidoking over Nidoqueen if it was still available, but one of the Nidos I was perfectly content with, so Nidoqueen was available, managed to get Nidoqueen, so that's very good. Got really good coverage, able to run physical or special, even though the special attack is pretty poor, it makes up for it in the Sheer Force boost. Whereas the physical, you run Earthquake or High Horsepower, and the ground move doesn't get the Sheer Force boost. So special is slightly better, but does have the option to still go physical if need be. And it's not like a few good support Pokemon, but this is generally going to be like a coverage bot, basically being able to hit Pokemon. I'll be able to hit Pokemon pretty much super effectively for every single week, just depending on what set I want for Nidoqueen. So pretty flexible. Would have preferred the slightly faster Nidoking, that's why I've got Nidoking. Again, it's a little bit more offensive as well, but the bulk will be nice for Nidoqueen as well. Weavile is here because I want the fastest Fake Out. I have the fastest Fake Out now, so if I'm going up against opposing Fake Out, I can always lead Weavile into it and know that I'm going to get the fastest Fake Out unless they're Choice Scarf. And if they're Choice Scarf Fake Out, fair enough. So this is really nice with the Weavile here, and it's got some really, really good support as well. And because it's so fast, it can go for things like fast Icy Winds. It's going to be able to do things like Fake Tears it's got now, which is really nice. So it can pair with some of my special attackers like Nidoqueen. I was going to say Tapu Fini, but I don't care about that. But I'm getting to the biggest special attacker shortly. So another reason, because I wanted the Pokemon that's coming up anyway, for sure, which is another reason why I didn't pick Rotom Wash over Tapu Fini, and Weavile is a really good pairing. Well, you've already seen the team, so Weavile is a really good pairing with Xurkitree because Ice and Electric is the Bolt Beam coverage, and then I have the potential to go for the Ice coverage on the ground types or just Fake Tears spam with Xurkitree, which is the most special, like the highest special attack in the game. Because if you see here, I need to click on, where do I click on? It's here, isn't it? Yeah, so Xurkitree, even higher than the Legends, it's got the highest special attack in the game, so going to pair nicely. I guess I skipped forward a little bit with Xurkitree. I'll come back to it. So Berserker is the tier 4 pick. Basically, it's here because Fake Out is lovely, but also now Kartana is actually a Steel type, because if I run Smart Strike on the Kartana, it will actually do some proper damage if I pair it up with Steely Spirit. So that's going to be really nice, I think. Not going to be doing too much special Berserker. It's going to pair up with the Kartana to boost its Smart Strike. Or its Steel Spikes, it's going to Fake Out, it's going to U-turn out. There's not too much else it's going to do. It can do some good damage itself with its own Steel moves, but it's going to be just faking out and pivoting pretty much, but that is perfectly content. Like, double Fake Out is very good in VGC, so I have 2 Fake Out Pokemon. I don't think many other teams, if any, have double Fake Out on their team. So, yeah, being able to pivot... Well, Weavile can't really pivot very well, it doesn't have U-turn or anything, but Berserker is able to get the super slow U-turn, which is really nice to be able to recycle those Fake Outs if I want to. So originally, Alex had Cresselia on his team, and that was a tier 1 pick, which in my opinion was a complete waste when Articuno was here in tier 2, doing pretty much exactly the same things as Cresselia, but also has the potential to go on the offensive as well, especially with the competitive. So I've got Defiant, I've got competitive, Intimidate is not going to be too much of a concern for me, and I've got Inner Focus on one of the physical attackers as well. So that's going to be pretty good. But Articuno, I think, is just, in draft especially, much better than Cresselia, because Cresselia can barely do any damage, it's just going to be pure support. Articuno can go super bulky, because it's got very good defense stats, obviously not compared to Cresselia, but entirely respectable defensive stats. So it can just go bulky Trick Room, exactly the same as Cresselia, but can also do some damage itself if they drop any of your stats. So yeah, and it's got the flexibility of going for Tailwind and Trick Room. So I managed to get Tailwind and Trick Room on one Pokemon, which not many, especially worthwhile Pokemon, can do. There's like Sigilif, which I thought would be amazing back in the WBE for the Big League NG, but we didn't bring... Did we bring Sigilif? I don't think we brought it at all. But Articuno is just better than Sigilif, of course, so being able to have the flexibility, like Articuno is very flexible here. Not the greatest of coverage in terms of its move pool, so pretty much going to stick with its stabs, maybe a Shadow Ball here or there. Is it like Ancient Power as well? Almost certainly not running physical on it, so not too much coverage, but then It's got very good special move, supporter move pool, I should say. Being able to have access to Tailwind and Trick Room is very nice, so that gives it a lot of flexibility. Xurkitree is super strong, so I can basically just pick. There's not much coverage, but I can just pick which coverage I want, whether I want Calm Mind. It doesn't have Tail Glow anymore, unfortunately, but that's okay. It pretty much just needs to go for the electric moves and just snowball the beast boosts. And the nice thing I like about it is, because its special attack is so high, I generally won't need to invest max special attack on it, and I can put it all into bulk instead. So that's one of the nice things about draft. A lot of the bulk of this Xurkitree is going to come from its special attack, because I can tailor the amount of special attack I need per week, and then it'll give me the bulk that I need, and the speed as well. So Xurkitree is just going to do big damage. It's just going to spam electric moves, almost certainly max lightnings and stuff. And the nice thing about pairing with Marowak, I can go for Discharge if I need to with Xurkitree, but Marowak on draft, again, was one of Alex's Pokemon that he had before. I don't need to run Lightning Rod, which is really nice. So if, I used Xurkitree, Marowak, and Articuno in the Players' Cup 4 region qualifiers together on my team, so quite funny that they ended up on this team as well. But that Marowak was Lightning Rod, so I was always forced to Discharge next to it on that team when I had the Xurkitree, and I couldn't go for Max Lightning next to the Marowak, but I can if I just choose to go Curse Body or Rock Head instead. So the draft is going to be able to give me the flexibility to do that if I don't see any electric-type Pokemon on the opposing type of the team. It's just going to be Rock Head, and then Xurkitree is free to just Max Lightning even next to the Marowak, so that's really nice. And another nice thing about this pairing, the Xurkitree and Marowak, because Marowak has Thick Club doubling its attack, it's going to be doing a lot of damage, just like Xurkitree. So I have a super heavy hitter on the special side, and I have a super heavy hitter on the physical side as well. So two Pokemon that have the potential to sweep. Xurkitree can make use of Tailwind a bit more to get the sweep going, but Marowak kind of has to be Trick Room unless I go like max speed, and that's a bit awkward. But then the final Pokemon here is the Budget Clefairy, basically. So that's what I've got with Togepi. Alex had Fungus as his redirector, but that was a tier 3, and that's not worth in the slightest, considering you can just safety goggles whatever you want in draft leagues. So opted for the tier 4 in Togepi and said, this is literally going to hold a Focus Sash, it's going to click Follow Me, and that's pretty much it. Maybe a Helping Hand here or there. So that's effectively what this is. It's just redirection in tier 4. So this is effectively like Clefairy Xurkitree would be perfectly reasonable in normal VGC. So this is just going to be budget Clefairy Xurkitree basically. That was the main idea with the Togepi, getting the redirection, but really pairing with Xurkitree just to go effectively Clefairy Xurkitree mode. So I can just go for Follow Me to get the Beast Boost going to keep Xurkitree safe, or I can just Helping Hand and something is probably being KO'd. So. But it's literally there just for redirection. But I'm pretty content with the team, considering the fact that all the other teams had picked before me. I had to take over a team and then edit it. So I didn't get the 11 picks, I got 8 picks. I used 7, so that's not too bad at all. I'm pretty content with having the 7 changes. There's not too much else I would change about this. I do have 1 trade left available if I wanted to, but I'm probably not going to. Pretty content with this. This looked like the strongest that I could get from what was left. So even the fact that everyone had already picked, and I'm happy with my team, I'm pretty content with that, considering all the good Pokemon got, and I had to get stuck with this stupid Tapu Fini.